Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video. In celebration of Family Guy's anniversary, I'm reviewing a couple of Family Guy specials. So the next one I'm reviewing, and if you've been following, because the last/first Family Guy special that I reviewed was the first Family Guy Star Wars special, Blue Harvest. So now, and it's obvious, we come to the next Family Guy Star Wars special, which being, well, their version of The Empire Strikes Back called Something 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 Dark Side. There's 3 somethings in the title. And like the last time, I'm not doing this alone, and because he's joining me reviewing the Family Guy specials, once again joining me is one of my good friends, Anchorman. It's good to have you back for the next one.
Hello there, everybody.
Yes. So something dark side. Well, because, you know, if I did or did not establish this when we reviewed Blue Harvest, because I mean, I remember that time when, and at that time when I wasn't allowed to watch Family Guy, I remember when those Family Guy Star Wars specials came out, and, well, most notably, Blue Harvest. And I remember, like, seeing, like, the advertisements and the trailer for it. Most notably, I remember just seeing the trailer for, you know, the Blu-ray release of Something Dark Side when, like, say, when it came to watching X-Men Origins Wolverine. It had that there. One of the, you know, those trailers that would start before you would get to the DVD/Blu-ray menu, that whole thing. I mean, eventually, because when watching it, of course, you know, hilarious, and with what they brought to their version of The Empire Strikes Back. And by that point, because yeah, like around like between like season 8 and 9, you know, the animation was starting to look very nice with the lighting and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and it's a funny title, of course, Something Dark Side. Like, you know, what better funny title could they come up with and such? I don't know. But anyway, so now we turn over to you, Anchorman, because what are the first things you have to say about the second Family Guy Star Wars special, Something Dark Side?
I like it. It's a good parody of, like, The Empire Strikes Back, and I think it follows the movie, like, they follow the movie's plots a lot more.
Of course.
Because in New Hope, they skipped some things, but, like, in this, I feel they did all the scenes in Empire Strikes Back and parodied it in a good way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first one, Blue Harvest, it was following the story of what happens in A New Hope, so
yeah.
Of course it does that, but of course, for this being funny and, you know, a parody of Star Wars, adding in jokes, you know, with Family Guy and such, yeah. But okay, so, as always, read the description/the story. During a power outage, Peter entertains the family with his homage, I have trouble pronouncing that word, to the Star Wars saga, and a retelling of The Empire Strikes Back, until power is finally returned to the Griffin household. Okay, so with that out of the way, so getting into Something Dark Side itself, well, because like the first one, because, well, you know, the power going out once again, and I would like to point this out because the version that both me and Anchorman, each of us, that we watched of Something Dark Side, of course we did a rewatch of this, you know, before now we're doing our review of it. We watched the version that I think, obviously, it's the TV version of Something Dark Side, because there are some jokes that were taken out, and some of the swearing that was altered, and some of them bleeped. And I think most likely, because with all of that still being intact in Something Dark Side, and that also goes for the third Family Guy Star Wars special, all of the extra jokes and the swearing, not bleeped, and so on, being in there, most likely because that's for the DVD/Blu-ray releases. I think that sounds about right. I really can't remember on, say, Blue Harvest, but yeah. So, like, what they're watching on TV in Something Dark Side before the power goes out, because like these two guys like talking about, they don't have any milk and just, yeah. So then of course the power goes out, and then of course, then Peter telling his rendition of The Empire Strikes Back, and this time, because the opening crawl just, goes out of character and such, and, talking about how much money was wasted on this, and mentioning, like, spending, money on a cheap CG elephant that has nothing to do with the plot, which happens, and so on. And then, of course, coming into the story, and, with those pods being shot down on Hoth, one of them being Elroy from the Jetsons. That makes sense, and that's a good one. And, one of the Imperial probe droids, yeah, that sounds about right. One of them being Joe, and his legs being twisted and such, and him making the noise, wah, wah, wah. And then, of course, we come to, once again, Luke, being played by Chris, and seeing the pod and, well, calling up Han. But, Han reminds, Luke what to call him, Carlo Spicy Wiener. It's funny. And Han warning Luke to look out for snow monsters. And another funny and obvious joke, the snow monster, well, Wampas, yeah. The Wampa in Family Guy's Star Wars being frickin' Cookie Monster. And of course he says, cookies! Yeah, so then coming back to the hidden rebel base on Hoth, like, we come to that, I should say. And, Peter as Han, informing, one of the main, like, generals, I want to say, and, Leia, once again, being played by Lois, that he's disembarking and such, and, complimenting on the general's, like, badge and such, but, I lied, it's lame. And, when it came to Han and Leia arguing, and, were you afraid I was going to leave without giving you a goodbye kiss? And I'd rather kiss George Takei. And then the camera pans to George Takei. It's funny. Okay, but let's come to you, Anchorman, because what do you have to say so far where I'm at?
I really like that Cookie Monster Wampa. Like, I don't know, it's like a perfect choice. Like, I don't know why, but Cookie Monster and the Wampa I could see the resemblance.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. I don't, honestly, I guess, at least the Wampa doesn't have the googly eyes like Cookie Monster does, but anyways.
No.
Nope. So anyways, anything else you've got to say?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, well, continuing on, because, Han is informed by C-3PO, once again being Quagmire, and also R2-D2 once again being played by Cleveland Brown. It's funny because R2 is in snow clothing. It's very fun, but he's a droid. How's he gonna freeze? Maybe his circuits, but anyways. And even R2 was complimenting on those, like, electric, like, wires or something being hung up on the wall, but anyways. So, 3PO informs Han that, well, Luke is missing, and Han getting on his Dawn, which being Dawn Knots. And Luke, we see him in the cave, and, he breaks free from being hung upside down, grabs his lightsaber, and, slicing off the Wampa's arm. Me wanted to play Monster Ball with you, but now forget it. Well, because when Luke gets out, and then, of course, and to speed things up, because coming face to face with the ghost of Obi-Wan, once again being Herbert, it doesn't fail, and it doesn't take too long for Herbert, as Obi-Wan, to say something inappropriate, pull your pants down. And then Peter coming in on his Dawn, and then out of nowhere, because Rodney Dangerfield shows up commenting something on Dagobah, because Luke going on saying, Yoda, Dagobah, and so on. And of course, sure enough, Han's Dawn freezes to death. And it was pretty funny because Peter, saying, I thought they smell bad, and just panting and taking his time, and then finally letting out saying, on the outside. And also, eventually, the rebels find Han and Luke, and once again, the Carlos Spicy Wiener thing. And one joke, that comes up where I think it's supposed to be like a skiing commercial advertising gum or something, but Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. And, well, because Luke being brought up, he's all healed and such, and, because, you know, the whole scruffy-looking nerf herder, and when Leia says it, you know, Han punching her, and, you know, only we say that. And then we come to, well, of course, the Empire, and once again, Darth Vader being played by Stewie yet again, and at one point, because we see Vader smashing a mailbox that has the name Nimoy. I assume maybe it's supposed to be a reference to Leonard Nimoy. I think that seems obvious, at least for me. I don't know. And so, yeah, because, you know, the Rebel base has been found, and, because, you know, one of the, Imperial officers, which, oh god, like, what was his name again? Because, you know, because one of Mike Henry's characters that he voices, because is one of the Imperial officers, and of course, yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because that was, let me see, I think that was Bruce, yeah, Bruce the performance artist. Yeah, oh no! So, anyways, so then, of course, with the Hoth battle beginning, and commenting saying that, you know, hoping that they don't send out, you know, giant robotic camels. Honestly, like, I don't know, because I don't seem to recall, like, if, I don't know, because, like, if the walkers were, like, kind of modeled after the camels and such, but, you know. Oh, and yeah, because I just remembered, good thing too, because there's one joke, because sadly got cut from the TV version, like, it was, like, this, really? Because apparently they see that one of the walkers, AT-ATs, etc., is wearing Crocs. So, yeah, they're pink ones. Well, because the battle beginning, and again, and just like what we were saying when we first did Blue Harvest, it's amazing how the ships and, you know, and like the walkers and everything, because they look so, you know, they look accurate, and they look like they can be in something else, you know, Star Wars animated, like, without having, like, the Family Guy characters there, because, again, we talked about this fully when we did Blue Harvest, so, yeah. Okay, but let's come back to you, Anchorman, because what else do you've got to say where we're at so far?
I don't know why, but I really like R2-D2 Cleveland, and, like, those mittens, the snow gear he was wearing. I thought that was adorable.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I agree with how they do look like the walkers and the Star Destroyers. They definitely look accurate to how they look in the movies, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And, yeah, because the jokes that happened during the Hoth battle, like, for example, because, like, Dak, you know, because it's unfortunate for the character of Dak in the actual Empire Strikes Back, because sadly meeting his demise, you know, being electrocuted, but in this, you know, he says that he can take on the Empire himself, so it's just him and the snow speeder, and going up into space, and, you know, just, you know, threatening and shouting to the Imperial ships, but, of course, with one blast, killing him instantly. And also, as they describe in this, because the giant cannon that can fire shots in space, and, you know, they shoot at one of the Imperial ships, and of course this gives the chance for some rebel ships to, you know, escape, by calling it, you know, giant, like, nipple blaster or whatever. That was funny. And then also because, you know, like, the Imperial officers, like, saying, well, one of them, you know, saying, our first catch of the day, and the other one, like, saying something, like, because that's, like, a mentioning of, like, fishing. That was funny. So, yeah, still, with the Hoth battle, and because the jokes were funny in there, and, of course, we hear the Wilhelm scream, Stewie as Darth Vader on the hologram, and the maid, who pops up, and, you know, no, because interacting with Darth Vader, that was funny. And one of the walkers, you know, of course, tipping over and just grabbing itself by the knee. That joke, that was funny. And eventually, because, well, Luke destroying one of them, and yeah, because this too was cut. Luke realizing that inside one of the walkers that he's about to throw a bomb in, you know, oh my god, it's pregnant. How? Well, who cares? This is Family Guy. Duh. So yeah, and just like in Empire itself, because well, the rebels are losing to the Empire, and them escaping Hoth and so on, and well, because Han picking up Leia as well as 3PO, and a joke on him leaving the keys. He forgot the keys, and then Darth Stewie showing up on the rebel base on Hoth, and like one stormtrooper not fully dressed by the chest because he was gonna dance later in the day. And eventually they escape, and after the Millennium Falcon escapes, well, because Darth Stewie, that's I could call him that at times, Darth Stewie, letting out Darth farts, I want to say, yeah, and hear just a little snippet of the Darth Vader breathing, and that's another thing, because never any time do we hear Darth Stewie doing that iconic breathing. I don't know why, but not that I'm complaining. It's fine. It's fine that it wasn't in the Family Guy Star Wars specials. It worked out fine. And then, of course, well, Luke and R2 making their way to the Dagobah system, and this couple in a space vehicle pulling over and asking Luke if they know the directions to Dagobah, and a dumb question like, "Can you pull over because we need to get gas?" And that was funny. Okay, back to you, Anchorman. Anything you've got to say? Where we're up to now?
I really like that scene with the walkers where he like grabs his leg or something.
Yes.
It's like how Peter grabbed his leg in the earlier seasons where he accidentally hit a mailbox or something. And
because to quickly mention that, because that joke where like Peter grabs himself by the knee because of how bad it hurts, like sometimes because like that joke would kind of go on for just like maybe like a minute or so, because just him grabbing himself by the knee,
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
That's what it is.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything else you've got to say before we continue?
I love this. I don't know. I know we haven't gotten to the Dagobah part yet, but I love where Chris goes into the Dagobah and then like they almost crash, but then Cleveland R2's like, "I'm sorry, I'm using an electronic device." I thought that was funny.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I would have almost forgotten about that. But yeah, because coming up to Dagobah, because yeah, they do arrive at Dagobah, and as you said, and well, from there on, one moment and like an iconic moment for Cleveland, no, and just jumping in, like falling into the swampy water of Dagobah. And I did notice this because, in case you did too, like in the TV version of something Dark Side, because when R2 goes, is shot out of the swampy water, he said something different. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch the DVD version.
Because I did notice.
Because it's been a bit since I saw that one.
Yeah, but my point being is that I did notice that. There was an alternate version of that R2 said something when he shot out of the swampy water. So anyway.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I noticed that they changed it. He says no.
No,
he's like,
no, we passed.
No, he says but instead but like in the DVD version, he's like, whoa, like how R2 said it when he flew out of the swamp in Empire.
I don't see what the big reason was changing it.
Yeah, same. I didn't get it either.
Yeah. It just, why? I don't know. It's what they did. So, anyways.
Yeah.
And then, because a couple of the first jokes that we see on Dagobah, like, I think, like, there's supposed to be, like, a Rod Serling, like, figure, maybe Forrest Whitaker, because of that Twilight Zone series that happened in the early 2000s, and Forrest Whitaker was the Rod Serling, like, figure. I don't know. I feel as though that was a Twilight Zone reference. But also, a reference to the Justice League, because, the villains, their hideout in the swampy waters, and yeah, that was funny. And Chris going, "Not now," and it just goes back down. And as for, coming back to our characters in the Millennium Falcon, because them escaping and running away from the Empire, and this is an obvious joke, and it works because, you know, and just like we would see like on news channels, like cop chases, you know, shot from helicopters, that whole thing. Because in this, well, yeah, TIE fighters chasing the Millennium Falcon, like that's a good one. There's like a handicap joke, I want to say. Yeah. So, and going into this cave, little do they know what that cave is. Coming back to Dagobah, because they do, of course, come face to face with, as well, Herbert as Obi-Wan told Luke, you know, on Dagobah, he will find Yoda, and he will be trained by Yoda, and thus Yoda appearing finally in something dark side, and Yoda being played by Carl. Yeah, Carl is Yoda, which is pretty funny, and this was cut too from the TV version. Like, Yoda just brings up random things to Luke, like a mentioning of Teen Wolf and I forget what else was brought up, but most notably Teen Wolf. Yeah. So, and if you know why he brings that up and what he says to Luke about Teen Wolf, you know, the Teen Wolf movie with Michael J. Fox. So yeah. Anyways, so continuing on and still to speed things up because you know. And throughout, you know, because during Dagobah, you know, Luke being trained by Yoda, and like there's one moment, and this is clearly, because yeah, this is a reference to Rocky IV, because Luke is supposed to be Rocky in this montage, while, you know, we cut to actual footage from Rocky IV, Ivan Draco being trained. Yeah, so clearly, because, well, in Rocky IV, Rocky went to the snowy mountains, and, well, he was trained there. So back and forth from Rocky and Ivan being trained. Yeah, so Luke playing the part of Rocky being trained. That was pretty funny. And for all of you Rocky fans, and if you get the reference, yeah. And as for our characters in the Millennium Falcon, well, because at one point, doesn't take too long and how it's done in this, that, well, because, you know, trouble is lurking in this so-called cave that they're in. Those, like, creepy, like winged creatures, one of them being, well, the monkey that lives in Chris's closet. Yeah, that was funny. And, Leia informing Han something's outside of the Millennium Falcon. He doesn't believe her, but then Chewie stepping in. Chewie once again being played by Brian. Yeah, I didn't mention Brian until now. Yeah, Chewie informing Han, and yeah, he believes Chewie, and thus they step outside. And, like, feeling the ground, and it doesn't feel like rock to them. It just feels mushy and such. And Chewbacca's comment, you know, saying that it feels like we're in Rod Stewart's stomach. Maybe I don't get that reference fully. I'm gonna have to look that up. But anyways, and just like, you know, by shooting like blaster bolts and, well, causing the so-called cave to shake, and Peter as Han just, you know, constantly firing on the ground, and wait, something's not right, just constantly blasting until, yeah, they get the heck out of there. And, well, the creature in this so-called cave, do you remember the name of that creature in that so-called cave?
The worm?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, obviously there's a specific name to it, but, I mean, that's kind of what he's supposed to be, like a worm or something, but with teeth and such. Like, yeah, the worm in that so-called cave being Meg. And, you know, after the Millennium Falcon escapes and going back in, then pops out again. How come I never get any lines in this? You know, and the Millennium Falcon coming back and saying, "Shut up, Meg." Of course it had to be in there. Okay, but coming back to you, Anchorman, because where we're at now, what do you've got to say this time?
I like the training montage and Dagobah. I like where Chris carries Cleveland R2 and, like, I think he, like, doesn't he, like, chop someone up with his lightsaber or something?
Well, that comes later, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but did you get that was a Rocky reference?
Yeah, it was from Rocky IV.
Yeah, and as I said, so, I mean, even before I said it, did you knew from the beginning, and when you watched this, that you knew it was a reference to Rocky IV? Yeah,
I've seen the Rocky movies.
Okay, good, that's nice to hear. and yeah, and coming back to Dagobah, because, well, that moment where, well, Luke senses something cold in a cave, and going in and, well, you know, in his vision, like in this, like, you know, dream he's having in the cave, seeing an image of Vader. And that was funny because, like, the shadow, because it looked big, you know, it was a tall, big shadow, but of course, you know, Darth Vader being Stewie Griffin, small, and, well, a little lightsaber duel, and then, you know, chopping off Darth Stewie's head. And of course, you know, just like in the actual movie Empire, well, it's Luke's face, and a little song number between the two Lukes, and even like Yoda at one point stepping in, you know, my little buttercup. Do you have anything to say on that part?
It was funny.
Okay, so, and, you know, dueling Chris's, well, in this case, dueling Seth Green's. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, I mean, actually, because, like, the same key, like, singing to the same vocals, maybe you just had to just sing it once, and they just made a duplicate, and that's my guess. But anyways, continuing. Then at one point, well, because unfortunately it was cut too in the TV release. You know, the bounty hunter hiring, because, you know, one of the bounty hunters obviously being Boba Fett, and Boba Fett being played by the Chicken. Yeah, the Chicken who, you know, at times would punch and fight Peter is playing the part of Boba Fett. And even, like, Raggedy Ann is there, too, with the bounty hunters, okay. Still funny. And, well, because the Millennium Falcon at one point being spotted by an Imperial shuttle, but, of course, you know, managed to disappear out of their long-range scanners and such, and Captain Needer, you know, being informed about Vader wanting a update on the Millennium Falcon, and, well, because, you know, basically pretending to say that they shot the Millennium Falcon, but apparently Darth Stewie is on the line, and he heard, and, well, thus Needer is immediately choked. Also, I forgot to mention this because one of the Imperial officers that showed up early is James Woods. Yeah, James Woods made a cameo in this, as himself, obviously. Because James Woods as General Veers. Yeah, General Veers. James Woods playing General Veers, that was funny. So the Millennium Falcon hiding behind, you know, the Imperial shuttle, and of course, you know, finding where they can hide, and that being, you know, they can go to Lando, not a system, but an actual person, you know, as Peter says, you know, like the only black guy in space, and Chewbacca saying something, let's hope he's the only one, or however he says it, and 3PO, Leia, and Han just, you know, their response, you know, whoa, so watch it, Chewie. And, well, because they release because of the garbage, and, well, sure enough, Boba Fett being right on their tail, and that close-up shot, and that dramatic music because of the Chicken, funny, and this was cut too, like, homeless people out in space shopping for garbage and such, and so on. That was funny. Okay, but we'll come to you, Anchorman, because anything you've got to say where we're at now?
The Brian making that joke before going to Cloud City, it's supposed to be like a racist joke.
Yeah, he was this close, taking it too far.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and what say on? I think there is a name to the Chicken, but yeah, just overall, like, anything. What say on the Chicken playing the part of Boba Fett?
I'm surprised they chose him to play Boba Fett. I thought it'd be someone else, but I guess they wanted to do like a Chicken Boba Fett.
Yeah, but who did you think would play Boba Fett?
I honestly don't know. Maybe he could be himself, or just a character who doesn't talk, like how he kind of does in the movie, only a few lines.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and by the way, because he showed up a bit earlier, almost forgot to mention him, Carter, Lois's dad, and, you know, he's the father-in-law to Peter, because him, once again appearing in this, and this time he plays Emperor Palpatine, and as we would see him once again, obviously, in the third Family Guy Star Wars special. And in Blue Harvest, he and his wife, and, you know, she being Lois's mother, they played the roles of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. So this time, Carter is playing Palpatine. Very fitting, of course. So again, the Millennium Falcon escapes, and, well, coming back to Dagobah, because Luke at one point sensing his friends in danger, and it doesn't take him too long to get on his X-wing and, you know, get there. Even like there was it was brought up that Yoda could join, but no, Yoda passes, so, you know, so Luke is gonna go by himself. And then Herbert as Obi-Wan showing up, and, you know, that boy was our last hope, and Yoda, of course, saying, no, there is another, and Obi-Wan saying, I know, I'm one with the Force, you know. Well, of course, Obi-Wan would know that, too. Anyways, and so, of course, our characters in the Millennium Falcon arriving at Cloud City, and it was funny, because those two ships, one of them fires upon the Millennium Falcon, and they're just arguing, like, why did you fire, and so on. Yeah. Anyway, so, you know, they arrive at Cloud City and meet up with Lando Calrissian, being played by Mort Goldman. I mean, you know, I think it's fine, you know, and it's funny, you know, Mort Goldman is Lando Calrissian. Like, what did you think as Mort Goldman playing Lando?
So, like, when I originally saw this, I didn't really know much about Mort, and I realized it was him when I learned more about the characters. So,
yeah.
I guess it's a fine choice.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it'd be someone else play Lando.
Yeah, and the fact, because they made Mort Goldman black because, you know, playing Lando Calrissian. I mean, I guess it works. I guess it's fine. Like, I don't seem to recall anybody having a problem with that. But anyways, then because them going inside, and well, because what happens with C-3PO in the actual film, well, what's going to happen with him? Well, because he stumbles upon J. Crew, I want to say. Yeah. And apparently because he got, like, tore off and such, you know, because when Chewie fetched his parts and so on, got into a brawl or whatever, how he says. And of course, you know, Lando bringing them together, like, you know, to dinner, I guess, yeah. And, well, because them coming face-to-face with Darth Vader. And, well, because in Empire itself, because the Empire beat the Millennium Falcon crew, and, well, because, you know, by having Lando held hostage and forcing him to you know, work with them and so on. And, yeah, I mean, Lando, he had no choice, because how could there's no way he would have said no, because if he did, he'd be dead. So, and probably everybody else on Cloud City. So, anyways, and, well, because as Lando established, he had no choice. But anyways, so, you know, so in this, in Family Guy's something Dark Side, yeah, the Empire showed up first, and I think, yeah, this was cut too from the TV version. Han making a comment on Boba Fett. The chicken's Boba Fett. Nothing wrong with that being cut, but anyways. And of course, and to speed things up, we of course come to the memorable part of Empire, the carbonite sequence. And, well, of course, Han being put into carbonite, and in the TV version it was bleeped, and yeah, because Lois as Leia saying I love you, and Han's response is F off. God. And, well, being frozen in carbonite, like, you should have seen, like, something was bound to happen, and, you know, Peter as Han doing something funny. Basically, he pulled his pants down and revealing his butt cheeks. That was funny. Okay, coming back to you, Anchorman, because where we're up to now, what do you got to say this time?
I think the scene where Peter goes into carbonite and it shows his butt. I thought that was hilarious when I saw that as a kid.
Uh-huh. And is there anything else you wanted to comment on?
I don't know why they cut out the scene where Han says F off. I don't know why.
Well, they didn't. No, they didn't cut it out. They just bleeped it. That's all.
Oh yeah. I think in the DVD version it's not beeped.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And as I pointed out, most likely stuff that was not cut and not bleeped, all that was not altered or anything like that. It was kept intact, obviously, because that would be in the DVD/Blu-ray releases. But what was cut and bleeped, most likely for the TV version of something Darkseid. But anyways, so continuing on, well, of course, Luke finally arriving, and because when he makes his way into the carbon chamber section, and an American Idol joke, and it's pretty funny, and the announcer saying, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you, our lightsaber battle, and Anchorman, that's when, Luke did chop off that announcer guy, did chop a person, so, with the lightsaber. Because you were wondering, so you brought that up early on. And Darth Vader, of course, being there, and, the Force is with you, young Skywalker, but you are not a Jedi yet. You're getting there. And, of course, them having their lightsaber duel. And at one point, because they have to, let a car pass by. Well, I mean, because that long part inside that chamber, And, because as for Leia, Chewie, 3PO, and Lando, because just like in Empire itself, Lando calling for backup, and, their attempt to get out and hopefully try to get Han, so rescue Han, and because we see Han being loaded in Boba Fett's ship, the Slave One, and the only time that, the chicken has dialogue in this. Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold, and the guy, putting him in there, duh, that's what he says. And of course, the Slave One leaves, and, it was too late for them to save Han. And 3PO's comment, and it's true. Technically, it's true. And because of when Empire and Return of the Jedi were released, because C-3PO commenting saying, I guess we're going to have to wait 3 years to rescue him. It's funny, but it's true, because Empire Strikes Back came out in 1980, while Return of the Jedi came out 3 years later in 1983. Yeah, because, what a coincidence. 3 years later, and with the number 3 in 1983. So anyways, then, of course, coming back to Luke and Darth, because at one point, when, a window broke, and because, Luke was thrown out, and a Wile E. Coyote joke, and Luke's saying at one point, I'd give my right arm for this day to end. You spoke too soon. And so to speed things up and to get to there, Luke's right arm being chopped off, and, funny how Darth Vader reveals, to Luke that he is his father. Even, I think, because even at one point, because we got a cameo from the late James Caan. I almost forgotten that James Caan appeared in this, and the fact that it's actually James Caan voicing as himself. It's cool that they got James Caan, the actual James Caan, to be in this. They also, because other cameos they got, like there was also Kirker Butler, being voiced by the Kirker Butler. He voices himself, because he shows up at one point in this. And of course, Luke escapes from Vader, and, it's like it would have been a perfect opportunity if they made a joke. Like, Stewie would have said something like, maybe why did I not use the Force to lift him back up? If you know where I'm going with that, but Okay, coming back to you, Anchorman, where we're at now, what do you have to say this time?
I really like that lightsaber duel between Chris and Stewie. I thought that was neat. And, I like the joke with Quagmire where he says, it'll take 3 years just for them to rescue Han. It kind of makes me wonder, when you watch the original trilogy, I wonder, what were the characters doing before the events when they go to Jabba's palace?
Absolutely, yeah. Also, to mention some other like cameos, and well, those that didn't actually voice themselves, like John Lennon apparently, because made a cameo in this, and John Lennon being voiced by Jackson Douglas. And a character by the name of Jim, yeah, because he was voiced by Chris Cox, and another big cameo, which I'll get to when we get there, because we're almost at the end. Because yeah, Leia, of course, sensing that Luke is all right, and she knows where Luke is, and telling Chewie to turn the ship around, and then like there's a little melody, turn the ship around. That was I don't know, because like. I want to say, like, that's probably, if that is, like, a reference to something, because I feel as though it is, and in this, because, lyrics change to turn the ship around, because, being Star Wars, but I don't know. Anyways, so, yeah, they get to Luke, and, because, Leia shouting to Luke, if it's you, wave your right hand. No, your other right hand. And him saying, and in the TV version, of course it was bleeped, but yeah, him saying, it's me, you effers. And, yeah, of course, Luke, he's rescued, them attempting to escape the planet's atmosphere and to get away from the Empire, and even like fixing the hyperdrive. I don't think they did, but not that much. Go in that much because of the whole hyperdrive being fixed. But yeah, I mean, it's there a little. So, and Vader making contact with Luke. Luke. Yeah, it's me. And is it you, Luke Skywalker? That was funny. Just casual and just an ordinary, like, talking, yeah. And of course, they do eventually, finally escape. And now that the hyperdrive is fixed. And what happens next is, well, as how it ends in Empire, they're safe and sound with the rebel fleet. And, well... Lando and Chewie, they're about to make their disembark to find, locate, and rescue Han. Well, of course, they know where he is, and that being at Jabba's palace. And Chewie making a comment, even Robot Chicken kind of did the same thing too, commenting on the fact that Lando is wearing Han's clothing. I mean, I don't know, because I guess, like, that doesn't matter, and there's no specific reason as to why he's wearing Han's getup in the actual film, because, yeah, I mean, because Chewie, like, breaking the fourth wall and letting the audience know that, yeah, because watch the actual movie, he's wearing Han's getup and so on. And of course, Luke getting a new hand, a robotic hand this time, and some funny comments from Luke and the Dr. Droid, and R2 Cleveland making a comment saying, like, when I buy a place for Mom, it'll have that view, just, because of them right at the window, looking at, looking out in space, and because, like, the camera pans out, the ships are and it rewinds, and we come back straight to Luke, and Luke saying, wait, that's how it ends? And because Chris, as Luke, was expecting, like, a really awesome ending and how it would leave off, and then whom pops up, like, and to make this ending, awesome and such, what the Western Union Man from Back to the Future Part 2, because he gave Marty McFly the letter, that Marty received, that was written in 1885 by Doc Brown. And the Western Union Man, once again, being played / voiced by the late Joe Flaherty. Yeah, because same dialogue, and it's awesome to see they got Joe Flaherty back. Because, yeah, Joe Flaherty, he played the Western Union Man in Back to the Future Part 2. So, yeah, that's awesome. And, of course, yeah, Chris as Luke reading what's on the letter exactly as it is in Back to the Future Part 2, and we get the Back to the Future music and the words "to be concluded." That was a funny but awesome way to end it, and what Chris / Luke wanted. And then come back to the Griffin family. The power comes back on, and yet another comment and a little argument between Chris and Peter about Robot Chicken. Chris saying that Robot Chicken did it better, and Peter just giving Robot Chicken a hard time. It's funny. And, Chris saying, I'm not going to let you get to me this time, Dad. Not going to let you get to me. And then Peter saying something else that does get to Chris, and it was bleeped as well. F you, Dad. Okay, now coming back to you, Anchorman, because where we're at now and we've come to the ending, what else have you got to say?
This is from earlier, but like the scene where R2 helps open the door and they get to the Falcon, that scene was cut for some reason.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, because I almost forgot about that, because, yeah, this too was cut from, obviously, the TV version of something Darkseid, because them trying to escape Cloud City and trying to R2 Cleveland trying to open the doors, and apparently because what he's him trying to get the doors open, because apparently he's seducing this robotic female and such, and then the robotic husband comes back home and just God, that was funny. And because the wife, saying, he tried to, rape me or something, and R2 Cleveland just going, oh, that's bullshit. I guess I can understand, because why it was one of those many jokes that was cut from the TV version of something Darkseid. But yeah, I mean, you got anything else to say on that joke?
It was they probably removed that one. I could see why it was removed, because maybe it's a little too edgy.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland R2 saying that's bullshit. That was funny.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Also, to mention a few others who cameoed in this, Sheriff John Bunnell had a cameo in this, and Sheriff John Bunnell being voiced by the John Bunnell. So I think I did get the last name right. But anyways, so yeah, okay. So now, because now coming to the end, and because we get the like with Blue Harvest, the end credits, and Family Guy being given that Star Wars music treatment, something Darkseid, the second installment of the Family Guy Star Wars parody specials, etc., was a pretty good one. I think that because how Family Guy did their take on The Empire Strikes Back, giving it that Family Guy treatment and so on, and with new additional characters and whom they play, from Carl as Yoda, and the chicken playing Boba Fett, and Mort Goldman as Lando Calrissian, and Carl playing Palpatine, and the jokes that were in something Darkseid, and from the jokes that still stayed in, and those that were cut and such, and again, because with amazing animation, and with the Star Wars ships and vehicles and so on, and with the use of John Williams music and score from the Star Wars films, and of course most from Empire, just overall I think something Darkseid probably, I feel, maybe is probably the best Star Wars parody that Family Guy has done in their Family Guy Star Wars specials. Okay, and now coming to you, Anchorman, because what are your final results and last words you have to say on something Darkseid?
I really liked it. It was a lot of fun to watch on rewatch, and the jokes really worked, and I think it's a good parody of Empire Strikes Back.
And you got anything else to say?
I think my favorite part was probably Cleveland R2D2.
And do you feel the same way too, that probably this is the best one in their Family Guy Star Wars specials, this being the best one?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's not to say that, the other...
all of them, but yeah.
Yeah, because I was literally about to say, because all of them, all three, are really good. But, I don't know, I just feel as though that probably something Darkseid is the favorite one. I just feel as though. And besides, Empire Strikes Back is the fan favorite of the Star Wars movies. Everybody considers this the best Star Wars movie ever. I mean, it's this and A New Hope that a lot of people, and, that goes for the Star Wars fans, considering... they consider A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back two of the two best Star Wars films. And, of course, seeing as how they are the first two. So anyways, okay, so how we rate something Darkseid. Well, we'll start with you, Anchorman. How do you rate it?
Maybe a 10 or a 9.
That sounds about right. For me, well, what the heck? I'm giving Family Guy's Something 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 Dark Side 10 out of 10 stars. Yes, 10 out of 10 stars for Family Guy's second Star Wars special, Something 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 Dark Side. And what about you guys? What did you think of Family Guy's second Star Wars special, Something 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 Dark Side, their take on The Empire Strikes Back? Is it one of your favorites? You know, your favorite of the three? Which were some of your favorite jokes, and who cameoed in this? For me personally, I think my favorite would have to be Joe Flaherty's cameo, and since I am a Back to the Future fan, you know, whom did you enjoy, and whom we got to see in this, from Carl the Chicken, Mort Goldman, who they play in Something 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 Dark Side. Yeah, just overall, what do you think of Family Guy's second Star Wars special? And with what me and Anchorman had to say, and with our review, and yeah, what did you think of our review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed our review of the second Family Guy Star Wars special, Something 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 Dark Side. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and we'll see you guys in the next video / review. And once again, Anchorman, it was good to have you for this one.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep. And don't worry, because me and Anchorman are going to continue reviewing a couple of more Family Guy specials, so be on the lookout for the next one, which, obviously, it's going to be the third and final Family Guy Star Wars special. It's a trap! Stay tuned for that. Take care, and peace out. And may the Force be with you.
Always.